welcome back to For the Love of Men podcast. My name's Courtney and I'm hosting with my dear friend Brianna Mosier.
Hello.
The intention of this show is to bring together men and women to create healthy, polarized relationship dynamics by learning how to honor each other's natural masculine and feminine energetic core. In line with our series of breakups and navigating the heartbreak and letting it expand you into the version of you that can handle more love, we are going to move into phase 3, which is about becoming the version of you that can handle more love. So I'm excited to dive into this. Before that, we're going to introduce ourselves and then we'll get started.
So good. My name is Bree. My work in the world is helping quite high-achieving, self-aware, intelligent, successful women embrace their feminine energy and start breaking relationship and dating patterns so they can draw in healthy, secure partners and co-create healthy, thriving relationships, mostly through the means of somatic-based healing work and sex, love, intimacy, pleasure work as well. That's my work in the world.
I love that.
Courtney, your work in the world.
Similar but different.
Similar but different.
I work with the maybe the equivalent, the highly intelligent men who are really looking to embody that presence and confidence that they're needing to move through the dating space and really find a compatible partner, someone who can meet them at their emotional depth that's really satisfying for them. So I love helping men kind of get back into their body and sync back up that cognitive and visceral system so that you can trust your gut and show up fully as yourself.
Someday our clients are going to meet.
I would love that.
Me too. They're meant for each other. What are we talking about today?
This is phase 3 of breakups. We kind of broke down the breakup process into 3 phases of the initial shock, the figuring things out. And this one's one that everyone wants to skip to, but it does have to happen in sequential order for you to really get the juice of it. We were just talking before the show. I find that a lot of clients come to me at this point where they're ready to step into this new version of themselves. And what we do is end up going and reclaiming some of the information that they needed from that breakup process so that they can move forward in a congruent way. So,
yeah, we were relating. I was saying that's interesting. My clients tend to get stuck in phase 1 or phase 2. And I don't know if it's how men and women are socialized or if it's feminine, masculine energy. I don't know. But typically my clients get stuck in the analyzing. What was them? What was me? What do I need to change? What actually happened? And then they don't quite integrate to how do I become the woman that can hold the relationship I really want? And that is actually the honey, but they might get stuck in the analyzing. So if you're one of those people, and if you are good at intellectualizing your feelings and analyzing, and you're very much in your head because you're so smart, this will be a really helpful episode for you because we do have to move forward, not just keep analyzing what happened, Really quickly, I need to be able to see you. Turn your light on. Get into it. If I could reach it for you, I would, but there was no way to be like this while you were talking. By the way, let me get in front of you. So there she is. I was like, why is Courtney so dim? I need her radiance back. She's back.
Sorry.
Now, do you see her now? So let's get into it.
Yeah,
okay, where do you want to take the first stab? We have about 6 or 7 points that are going to be really helpful for you to reframe this period and move forward productively.
Yeah. I love the idea of a lot of my work with men is around boundaries and putting the right boundaries in place. And what I observe is that boundaries are a visceral process. And if you aren't willing to experience the discomfort, the grief, the anger, the sadness, the rage, whatever it is, then the boundary isn't going to land the same way as it would if you were truly in your body. I just had a conversation this week where people are responding differently to a client of mine because he's been doing this visceral process, the somatic work. A lot of times people try to step over that and their boundaries are just conceptual things. Like someone should do this or they shouldn't do that. And they get confused as to why the boundary doesn't stick, doesn't work. And it's usually because you're trying to step over the somatic work. once they do that, it's able to like drop into their body, and they can really back themselves and say like, that doesn't work for me. That's it. Like, it just doesn't work for me. I'm going to remove myself, or I'm going to enforce a consequence, which is I'm going to be over here. I'm no longer engaging. That is the consequence. Otherwise, it's like they continue in the same cycle.
My clients go through the same thing. And for them, it will show up as, I know better, why can't I do better? Like, Bria, I know I should have a boundary around this. I know this is mistreatment, but I keep going back, or I keep tolerating it. And when you live in your head and you don't know how to drop into your body, your boundaries will feel like that. They'll feel like concepts and not embodied standards. When you learn to become alive inside your body and you feel the impact of a boundary violation, you feel the anger, the grief, the frustration, the how dare you, right? That feeling actually serves you to give you a felt boundary. What I would call, with clients who take soft and secure, I call it energetic standards, because they're real for you. And then when you bump up against something like the past relationship that you know didn't work for you, it's a visceral no, because the no is in your body. It's not like a, here it is again, but I think I'm going to do it again.
Maybe it'll be different this time.
It's like, yeah, I've actually been there. I described it to a client, in my private clients, we do WhatsApp almost every day. And I was describing it to her as, imagine if you touched a hot stove and you didn't feel anything. You would just keep touching it, right? But when you go through these experiences in relationship and you let the pain of the experience land, not in a torturous way where you're milking it, but a way that you just let it be real. It's like touching a hot stove and then you say, oh, I'm not going to do that again. Ow, that hurt the first time. So the next time you see a hot stove, you don't reach for it anymore because it actually landed. Only you do that emotionally. If you don't know how to do that and you want to work with someone and you are a man, Courtney would be your person to do that for. And likewise, if you identify with my clientele, pretty skillful at getting intelligent women in their bodies, which is the key to their feminine energy.
Yeah, so there's an integration process of the boundaries. They need to come inside to protect you so that you can get close to people again. You can open your heart back up, and that, I think, is regardless of your gender or masculine, feminine. Like, your heart being closed to the idea is what keeps you from actually making the connection. And I find for my clientele, they usually are carrying a lot of other people's baggage. We actually need to go in and kind of like clear out some space. So we do spend a little time going back into phase 2 so that you can just like clear some stuff out so that you have this open space that's pristine and able to hold the new relationship that you're wanting to step into.
So good.
Yeah, I love that process.
So as you're going through this phase 2 where you're analyzing, that's when your boundary should be landing if you're doing this breakup consciously and intentionally. And then in phase 3, it's in your body. These are the things that I will and won't tolerate, better said, that do and don't work for me going forward. I'm used to saying tolerate because of usually the abuse background. It's like what you will and won't tolerate. So that discernment on, okay, what will I allow? What works for me? What brings out the best in me? And then holding that, I would call it an energetic standard for only that. I think that's a really good first step in this process.
Yeah.
Shall we move to the next?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me think about...
Yeah, what's striking your fancy?
Let's continue making peace with the past before we go forward into the good stuff like that, you know? So the next thing I personally would do is refuse to see these experiences as failures. There's like this narrative a lot, and I don't know if your clients go through this as well, but if it didn't work out, then I failed. And it becomes like proof that, oh, I'm not good enough. I'm doing something wrong. My person isn't here. The dating pool is scarce. Nothing's working out for me. It becomes this really negative narrative. How I think about past relationships is, how lucky am I to experience so much love in my lifetime? How lucky am I to love so many people? How lucky am I to get to know myself through someone else and grow from their perspective of how they receive me? And they trigger things, and then I go, oof, I need to clean that up. I would not be the person I am or have the sense of security or feminine energy I do had it not been for so many people that I got to practice with. And so everyone is getting you ready to be ready for your person. And I wouldn't make those experiences wrong. That is a gift. Everyone teaches you. We always say you take the wisdom. Every way that you grow, you take the wisdom from dating. And if you can integrate it, those experiences will fuel you to call in something even more aligned, instead of bogging you down and feeling the weight of like what you're calling relationship failure. But it's not. Everyone has multiple relationships before they choose their person. You need to have those experiences. You're not off path. It's just getting into more and more alignment until you meet your person and it feels like, oh yes, there you are. Easy.
Which is why you can't step over phase 2.
No.
You just can't, because that will be the natural tendency as we want for our mind to like take us to a more pleasant experience. But the pleasant experience won't stick. It won't be as integrated, and you won't actually be prepared for the next relationship to be better if you're trying to step over phase 2. So yeah, I love that. I always think of there's some work of conscious uncoupling, and she talks about like most back in the day when we only lived to be 30 or 40, like you probably had one primary relationship. Since we have a lifespan, close to 100 now, like there are going to be significant endings that you need to contend with. And so this process, this skill set is one. A couple of years ago when I was going through a breakup, that's what I realized. I was like, oh, this is actually a skill set that I need to become familiar with, because just like grief in losing people that are important to us, relationships are like that too. And if you're not willing to be with it and let it kind of like work its way through, it's going to keep you from leaning in. It's going to keep you from wanting to engage in that way, when the reality is to reframe it can be so powerful that like this, all of it's adding up. All of it gets to be stuff that you keep. All the memories are yours. And I think that's also part of the phase 2 piece, is like when you're looking back and realizing like, do I get to keep all of the happy memories, or do I need to pick a side? Like, that's why the villainizing piece doesn't work, because you don't actually have to pick between the happy memories and the ones that you learned from. They all come with you. If you can be with both of them, you integrate the lessons, and then you get to have more happy memories that you're building on top of, which I think can be a really beautiful way to reframe it.
Totally. I love that. And if it's not landing, it's okay. That didn't actually land for me sometimes until a year after the relationship ended,
Yeah.
Like there was I had no access to enjoying the happy memory until I'd made peace with the pain. But then I could look back with gratitude. So I just don't put pressure on yourself to get there.
Yeah, they're like all wired together. You do have to like let time tease it apart. And then the happy memories don't feel like a loss. They feel like that was a really fun experience. I'm glad that I had that. And I'm glad I get to keep that and move forward and recreate a happier experience than that.
For me, the motto is like, the better it gets, the better it gets. It's only going to get better. If you take this approach of really looking at what was mine, what was theirs, let it land, integrate the boundary, hold the boundary, it only gets better in terms of who you're attracting in partnership,
Yeah. I remember this a couple years ago too, like probably when we started the show, we were having a conversation of like getting more and more refined in your dating process.
Yeah.
And if you're willing to trust that better is out there, that is the like faith muscle that you have to really exercise when you're stepping into this phase, is that better is out there, and you doing this type of work is preparing you to be available for it. It's preparing you to like see it around you. Then it doesn't feel as scary, or like you're missing out on something, or like you're letting go of something. You're letting go of something so there's space for something. It's a trade.
Oh, such a good point. That makes me think of, so a lot of the women I work with have trauma with the masculine, and their trauma becomes a projection onto the current men in front of them. And a lot of times, because they're in WhatsApp with me every day and in private coaching, they'll send me screenshots of, text messages or how things are going, and I help them read that, parse that out, learn healthy communication, all the things. Sometimes they'll send me messages and they're misinterpreting what a man is saying. and seeing it through the lens of their past pain, right? So an example, I've been sharing this a little, a client had sent me a screenshot of a man who suggested a date, and she was like, that's a really noisy bar. Like, I don't think that's a good idea. That wouldn't be fun for me, but I don't know why he suggested that. And I was like, okay, why don't you tell me you'd like to go somewhere quieter? She was like, well, yeah, but he should be taking the lead. And I was like, yeah, he did.
That is what he's doing.
He did. And he just wants to make you happy. But you're not seeing it because you're thinking about all these experiences you've had with men who didn't have your best interest and you kept engaging, right? And you felt disappointed. But this man wants to make, what I'm hearing is, I want to make you happy. And when she asked for somewhere that was quieter, he said, oh, if I had known that was more your speed, I would have booked the wine bar. I already know a place. I'm on it. Done, right? And so when you haven't released the pain of the past, which is what I help a lot of women do, you can't see even good, healthy, secure partners in front of you because you're bracing and protecting, and your nervous system is working overtime to protect you. That's why that phase 2 of analyzing and releasing is so important. And then you can go forward and see people more clearly because you're not holding the pain. That client is killing it, by the way. Yeah. And that example was not to, by the way, drag her in the comments. I mean, she's learning. We're all learning together. I've misinterpreted so many things men have said to me in the past before, too. Yeah.
I mean, this happens for men as well. I'm not sharing client stories specifically, but that is something that men are also figuring out how to be with and interpret. And that's part of the work, is like interpreting, like, what did she mean by this? Did she want something quiet? Did she want something a little bit more robust and like vibrant? And they're trying to like discern what you're asking for too. So like, I will say that both sides are just kind of like
speaking different languages.
Yeah.
Can I sidetrack us for a moment?
Yeah.
So this morning, Courtney and I, the thing is, we never stop talking about this. That's how the podcast started, is we just can't stop yapping about relationships together.
So we just brought you in.
We just recorded it.
Yeah.
We were chatting this morning about how when men will make a gesture for physical intimacy, they do it in a way that they would prefer. And women feel like, why is he coming on to me that way? Like, it's a little rash or abrupt. Yeah. It's like, and women, we tend to be crock pots, not skillets. And so when he does that, she's kind of like, why would he think that was the way to invite intimacy? And when women want to invite intimacy, it'll be like, but I touched his leg. I'm just rubbing his leg. He didn't know. So it's like, obviously, we're all speaking, we're wanting the same things, but speaking different languages. I just hope this show was a resource to help you decode each other and understand each other's language and not make either one wrong,
Yeah. I love that, because we always come back to this premise that it's like, you can't apply, as a woman, you can't apply your rationale to how a man operates. It is truly the opposite. Not just the opposite, like I'm looking from this side of the room instead. It's like the inverse. If you don't understand how to invert things, you're constantly going to be trying to apply your rationale as a man or a woman to what they're experiencing, and like wondering why you're missing each other.
I mean, that's what we just do as humans, right? Yeah. Oh, I would never do that.
Even in good faith. Like, they're like, oh, I'm trying to think about it from her perspective. And it's like, but if you don't understand the feminine in general, coming from her perspective isn't even
in your psyche.
It's like not even in your realm of awareness.
It's like how connection is the lifeblood to the feminine. So disagreement, even on opinions, the feminine's like, and men are like, this is great, let's mix it up. And we're like, I need to find a point that I can agree on, or I don't feel safe.
Yeah.
And if you don't know that women are wired for connection because connection equals safety, how could you know, by the way? Right. Some women don't even know that's what they're doing. Then you just do this, and well-meaning people can't see each other.
Yeah.
And it's a hilarious cosmic joke, really, isn't it?
It truly is.
Isn't it?
It truly is, but that's what we're here talking about.
Yeah.
It is humorous. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. And then it just becomes part of your, like, way of moving through the world, it does make it more robust and more fun, I think.
And I still learn every single day. I learn about men, about women from women. There's no I think you guys know this by now on the show, but we do what we do because we've been through the trenches, not because we have it all figured out.
Exactly.
We just keep reporting from what we now know is X.
And actually, if we zoomed in a little further, here's where the line is.
Yes, yeah.
I was way over here.
I mean, even our old shows, we were talking about this earlier, we would say something different now.
Yeah.
There was a level of development we were at then that was true then, and now we've grown as you're supposed to, right? How disappointing would it be if we hadn't grown in 4 years?
Yeah.
And agreed with everything that we knew 4 years ago? It's not even hard disagrees. It's I would have enhanced that more differently. Nuance. I would have given more nuance. Would have given more context. I hope the show just keeps doing that, and it will.
Yeah,
it will.
Yeah, we love inviting you guys on that journey with us, and I guess our hope in sharing even that is your evolution is happening, and one of the things that we always talk about is to evolve in public. It feels vulnerable. It does, and so I want to just put that out there that if you're in phase 3 and you're I'm wanting to step into this new version of myself, and what are people going to think of me? Are people going to respond to me differently? Maybe that's a really exciting thing. Yes, I hope people respond to me differently. Or maybe there's a little hesitation of if I do this, I might lose some specific connections as they are. I'm going to be requiring them to up level as well. And all that to say, we get it because you guys are constantly on our evolution journey as well. And that is the growth edge, is when you grow, you kind of are asking other people to come with you, and if they do, great, your connections deepen, you have more intimacy with them, you're able to connect in new ways, and if they don't, that's okay too, because that's their journey to go in a different direction.
And it's still a great chapter.
And it still can be a great chapter, which brings us back to when you have these skills, you may have to let go of friendships, you may have to let go of relationships. Having these skills is going to help you navigate those in a way that gives you a little bit more freedom to continue your growth path and doesn't keep you locked into patterns or types of relationships that aren't in support of that.
So good.
Yeah.
I think it's funny we kind of diverged here because aren't we in essence today just talking about stepping into this new version of yourself, which is an everyday process. So as you're in this third phase, this is so good. I don't know if I should let you go first. No, I know what to do. Sometimes it all happens at once and I'm trying to what's the best way? As you're reflecting on the relationship, what parts of you do you really want to bring forward? And what parts of you are oof, that tendency came out. That pattern came out within me. I want to work on that. And then this phrase, when I was doing sex, love, and intimacy training, in conflict repair, they would use this phrase, copping to it. Just admitting, you know what, I do that. That is something I do, right? And I was trying to think of an example before the show. An example of something that I knew I needed to work on after my last relationship was not being clear and direct about what I really wanted. I had this tendency to make it palpable and water it down and sort of make it easier. And I was doing that to soften with a projection of this is how I would want it said to me as a woman. After that relationship, I learned healthy, secure men really appreciate directness and a very clear, this is actually what would make me the happiest. What do you think? And then negotiate from there if you need to. But I was negotiating already, bracing for I don't want to be too much. And as I learned that and decided I need to practice getting more clear, what skill set would that look like? What do I need? And then I started being more direct. And the men that came forward were men who really just wanted to make me happy. It was never, that's what you need?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Yep.
So how would I say it? Or what are some things I could do to help you feel that way? I mean, it blew my mind.
Yeah.
What? It was that easy? Yeah. I was the one deciding my needs were a burden before you? Oh.
Yeah.
And so copping to that, if that tendency came out in me, I would know, okay, I do that sometimes. I water down what I need because I'm afraid it's going to be too much and I might push you away. I need to check myself and keep practicing that skill. You know, so what can you cop to that you know you do and you kind of want to work on, and then just take the shame out of it. Okay, I'm just going to work on this. Yeah.
I love that. This is where I worked through a lot of like avoidant tendencies too. Was if you're wanting, like I'm saying, I want more intimacy in my relationships, and yet am I showing up available for intimacy? If I was honest with myself, I was like, there were ways I was hedging, ways I was holding back, ways that either I wasn't asking directly for what I wanted, or I wasn't like letting the moment happen within me in real time, for all of these reasons and shame and all of the things that I actually had to like really sit with and be like, oh, that would be really hard to be across from.
Like, I'm not bringing all of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see how that would be really difficult. And what it did is opened up that part of me so that the next connection that I was in, I was like, all right, I'm going to try it a little differently this time. And we always talk about that like pendulum swing. There's always this like pendulum swing, but I found that going into it, I was able to be with more of those experiences, and it kind of like found the middle. And yeah.
This is where I think support is really powerful too, because anytime you're stretching beyond what your nervous system is used to, it kind of brings up all your fear and anxiety and worst case scenarios. And just having one person to say, I know it feels that way, but you're actually going to be fine. I've walked this path. Just give it a go. And if you mess it up, come back and report to me and we'll figure it out together.
Yeah.
Makes you so much braver.
Bolder. Yeah.
And then you have kind of a framework. I will tell my clients, here's what I would say. Say it back to me in your words. Try to use that type of language. And they're like, oh, it sounds a lot better when you say it like that. So you just need a little layup. And then it starts becoming second nature to communicate that way. Yeah.
I totally hear you with that. Because when you're out of your norm, it will feel like uncharted waters.
It is uncharted
all
waters.
the time.
Yeah.
And sometimes it is just having, like for my clients, I just like pick them up and point them in this direction. I'm like, look at it from this angle. Tell me what you see now. And they're like, oh, I would say this. I'm like, that's where you need to go. That's it.
You knew what to say.
You already knew it. You just were like looking at it from over here. And we need to look at it from this way.
You're so good at that.
I love it. I love kind of like repositioning people, because I think reframing stuff is the gold.
I know.
Otherwise, you're like holding yourself back, judging yourself in ways that aren't helpful and really aren't necessary when you kind of like are able to reorient. I love doing that. Yeah.
It really is, because our clientele is similar in some ways of the like high intelligence, self-aware, personal development focused. It's like you always say, you're a half step away.
Yeah.
You're getting 90% of it right. And if you just have a little nudge, a little framework, let's use this type of thinking, let's see it from this angle, things just start clicking, because you've already done so much.
Yep.
You know? So good.
I love it. Like sometimes my clients could teach me they could write a whole textbook. They've done years of research. They've read every single book. And I'm like, great, we're talking on the same page here. You could probably teach me some things. And in this situation, we need to zoom in and look at this one thing. And once that clicks, it's like, all right, now it makes so much sense. And all of the skills start like falling in place. Like,
right, like everything already
lines
know.
up.
It just integrates.
Yep.
It's like the glue.
Yes.
Or the fascia, you know?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, that's why the integration work, I love doing that kind of stuff.
Okay. So copying to it, did you want to say anything about this? Similar to...
Yeah, kind of the same, kind of what I just said. I just made note here that like part of going into this phase is learning to accept more of yourself. When you can cop to the things that make you, I'm going to say like difficult to be across from, you start loving those parts of yourself, and you're more selective about how you engage with people, who you allow to come close to these like vulnerable parts. Like there's some boundaries that needed to have been put in place. But I find for a lot of my clients and a lot of my work is really about like learning to accept yourself more. And especially for these highly intelligent men, who have this like deep emotional well that they're capable of offering within relationship, which is like just lovely. And that's an area that sometimes they're not comfortable being in for lots of reasons. They have, little judgments of themselves. And I found this for my female clients too, who also had this like really deep emotional capacity, but would find ways to hold themselves back through their own judgment. And part of a process that I walk people through is kind of like taking ownership of not only copping to things, being accountable for the things that you're bringing into the relationship dynamic, but also being really accountable for the great things too. And being able to see yourself with some clarity, because the truth is you have an action plan to learn how to be with these parts of you that make it more challenging for you to get the relationship you want. Awesome. And that also means being responsible for the areas that you are exceptional as a partner. Yes. You have so much to offer. And the reason that you're not experiencing the type of relationship you want probably has more to do with the fact that you're not accepting both of these things in a way that would allow you to be available for, to see, to actually say, hey, I want this type of relationship. You're kind of like aiming for like what's possible instead of, or what's probable instead of like what's possible. That's one of my like favorite shifts to help men with, is to see themselves clearly and what they're capable of creating around them, and to aim for a little bit bigger frame than what they had been playing with.
That's so true. I think men have such power in the dating dynamic. It's just like not quite the same I mean, women have a lot of power in the dating dynamic too, but when a man comes into a dating dynamic holding a masculine frame with presence and confidence, women feel it. And because women are so responsive, like, you can't help that your body softens and you notice how good you feel around that person. Because women are so attuned to their bodies, it's like, oh, I like how I feel around him, right? And I think when women enter the dynamic in their empowered feminine, of course, men feel that. It's just slightly different. I feel like the masculine has such power to, like, women are craving to soften right now. Most women are ripe to soften, and they're just looking for the right person to give their softness to. And when you come in and just be that, and she just melts. But her work is she has to know how to access that on her own.
True.
And no amount of safety in a man, if you are holding on to the past pain, if you're not in your feminine, if you don't know what that looks like, feels unfamiliar, feels unsafe, feels too vulnerable, feels icky, feels cringe, like whatever part you have rejected about your feminine energy, it doesn't matter how safe that man is. You're not going to melt. And I think that's good. I'm sure you talk to men about that. Like, you can't get her to do that. All you can do is be the space. Courtney and I are tag teaming this with you.
You'd be surprised what a safe space can create for a woman.
Oh my God. Yes.
And if she can't allow herself to experience it, then it's not your responsibility or fault or whatever. It's no one's fault, but there is work to be done on both sides. So yeah, I love that.
I derailed us a little bit.
That's okay.
I keep doing my job very well.
That is your job. Exactly.
We make a joke that my job is to get us off track. See, I accepted myself. I accept my role in this dynamic.
And she does a great job.
But I always ask. I always say, can I go over here for a second? And Courtney always says, yeah. She just like leans back.
Yeah. Ooh, one other thing that I remember when I was going through some of these phases that might be helpful, and I wish I remember who actually originally said this, but the challenge was like, if you knew, when I was talking earlier of like letting go of something to open up space for something else, if you knew that your person that you were going to meet them like without a shadow of a doubt in 6 months, like how would you be operating now? Would you be letting go of any of the connections that you're like hanging on to, or would you be more willing to gamble if you knew that the person that was coming is like ideal for you? And this is different from like keeping one foot out the door and holding out like maybe there's better options. That isn't typically my clientele, so I don't think that you guys are the ones that fall in that camp either, but just caveat. But to feel really empowered in this process and to be continuing to step into the version of yourself, as we started the show, that's available for those things. Kind of clearing out some space, opening up your heart space, giving back the things that need to be accountable on the other side of the street, and also taking some responsibility for the things on your side of the street, so to say, really can be such a healing process. Mm-hmm. I find there are probably conversations that needed to have been said. They're kind of in the realm of unsaid still. That can be really beautiful work to do, and we can do that together. I find being witnessed in those things can be really, really powerful.
I love that question because it does, and it applies to everywhere in life, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. I love that question, and I would even add like a little bullet point underneath of, if you knew that your person was going to bring out, your ideal person was going to bring out the best in you or appreciate the best in you, how would that change how you show up, right? Enhancing that thought of owning the value you bring to the table. I would be even more playful, even more feminine, even more warm. I would be more creative. I would bring this side out more. I think a principle of our show is the more authentic you are to yourself, the more true you are to yourself, the faster you attract an ideal partner, because they can see you, because you're showing up as the person they're looking for. Yep. So if you knew they were going to accept and love all these weird, quirky things, not maladaptive coping mechanisms
Fair.
or unhealthy patterns,
yes.
but like personality, things that make you unique skills that you bring, your energy, how would you be showing up? Instead of, I don't know if men do this as much as women do. Well, they probably do. Shape-shifting. Well, what's appealing to men? Well, how should I be? And a lot of women get into feminine energy from a sense of posturing. Like, I want to be feminine. I want to be attractive. I want to show up that way. They don't realize how perceptive men are, that they can actually feel that lack of embodiedness.
Yeah.
And then it comes off very differently. So if you were really going to embody all of who you are, including your feminine energy, start showing up that way now. Bring it to the table now. And then naturally let universe, God, whatever you believe in, do the heavy lifting to draw in the right people for you.
Yeah. I mean, the same happens with men too. One of the things that I love is helping them step into like their rightful place in their life. A lot of times they are so good at being aware of the people around them, being responsible for the people around them. These are like really highly empowered, successful men, and they kind of forget to include themselves in their own experience of life. And once they kind of like put themselves back in their rightful space and operate from their depth, it's amazing. The like compatibility cleans up, the limerence that they were kind of like stuck on, this ideal version of a woman cleans up. There's so many things where they're able to just naturally be present. It's not that they're having to do anything different. They are just being themselves, which is the point of masculine or feminine polarity. Like it is amazingly simple that we do these things that we think are masculine or we think are feminine, and not realizing that the other side is responding to something completely different than we realize we're trying to create. The nervous system regulation, the like depth of emotional availability or capacity, even that sense of presence around a man is so safe and alluring for lots of women, but especially the right woman who is not only like, I love that you were saying that, of like all the quirks that you bring. I think for my clientele, it's needing permission to operate from their depths, that the right type of woman, I just wrote a blog about this last week, but like the right type of woman isn't just going to be like, oh, that's nice, he has some emotional depth. She's going to be like, oh, I want to go there.
Eating it up.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Intellectually stimulating, emotionally available. Like that only happens when you're willing to accept that like I have some depth, which means that I need to operate in the dating space differently than these like, pickup lines and surface level dating advertisements. Like that's not going to work if you're someone with some depth and substance and wanting something that is a deep emotional bond.
And please lead with that. Because I can think of about 100+ women off the top of my head who would be like, I'll take that, thank you. They're craving emotional depth. Yeah, I think we've said this many times. And I predict, the men who are going to be the most successful in the next several years of dating are going to be men who bring their emotional depth and intelligence and self-awareness and zest for personal growth and expansion to the table. Because that is where, I'll tell you, that is where women are holding the standard, you know, because they can in a lot of ways take care of themselves. So the question becomes, can you meet me emotionally? And if you can meet me emotionally, now we're off and running, right? So I love what you're saying. Your clientele has that emotional depth. Bring it to the table. People want that. Women want that so badly right now. Yeah.
I mean, this is something, I've been on this, like dying on this hill for a while, but the recovered nice guys, the ones who think they're nice guys, aren't actually nice guys. You just have depth that women are actually craving. And if you would lead with that in a way that is, like there's nothing actually wrong with you. Truly, it is like learning to accept these things about yourself that allows you to navigate them more skillfully and find the right type of women. That's the mismatch that I see most often is for my clientele, choosing more compatible partners to partner with. Less that they need more skills or more information or knowledge. It's like dropping in their body and trusting those nudges. Because I would actually say that from the men's side, they're looking also for women who can meet them at that depth, which is, I'm putting this out here for the ladies because I think this is going to be surprising to them. A lot of my male clients, I'm like, you'd be surprised to know how many women are waiting at the depths, like looking for you. If you were down there just like hanging out in your heart space, just like as your presence, you will find way more women than you realize. And for women who are listening, the men who have this emotional depth are actually vetting based on like how deep are you willing to go with me? And how can we make this comfortable for both of us?
I do think that's going to blow a lot of women's minds. Because, and it just goes back to when she hasn't cleared her trauma, she projects it onto the man in front of her and she can't see you. Which is why it's so important for women. If you do clear that out, you are going to see men differently and you will never want to go back to seeing things how you did before, because you'll look around and go, wow, look at all these generous, capable, emotionally in tune and attuned to me men. They're everywhere, but you can't see them if you keep filtering it. And those women are looking for depth as well. But they hold back because of the fear of being too much and because they've traditionally gone for partners who tend to, for lack of a better word, underfunction in relationship or in their own self-growth and leadership. I call it eternal boy energy in my coaching, where it's like he has so much to offer, but he's just not quite leading his own life. And so the successful, high-achieving woman and this type of man gravitate toward each other because they're actually reverse polarity drawn to each other. So if you bring your emotional depth and you encounter a woman like that, it's going to be pretty natural, healthy chemistry. It's funny how we hide these things.
You know, what's funny when you were saying that is I find that helping men now, this is what I'm observing, and this isn't where we planned on going with this. We're just both kind of going on a tangent. But this is important because I actually find for a lot of women that they are saying that they're craving to be seen, but they don't actually know how to be seen. They don't know how to hold that level of exposure within themselves, and they do the same thing. Inadvertently, they push away these men who are holding this deep heart space for them. And because it almost causes her to like cave in on herself if she doesn't have the willingness to like hold her heart open, he'll meet you there. Like that is what I have observed. He's there, he's ready. He's got his work to do to like clear out some space for that usually. But I actually find that women are also struggling to be seen in that way. It does take a lot of courage, but I think there's an art in the intimacy that you're asking for, which kind of goes back to the point that we're making of like, are you the compatible counterpart to what you're asking for? That is the point of this phase 3, is like to be clearing out anything that keeps you from being the woman or the man that would be a natural fit and a natural attraction point for the type of partner you're wanting. You want this emotional depth? Are you willing to lean into the vulnerability of exposing yourself in that way? Like exposing your heart, exposing your emotions, being raw, being vulnerable. It can be scary. And if you were to trust that it was safe, how would you be playing your hand?
And if you were to have discernment on knowing when it's safe.
That.
Yeah. That skill set will help you know when to open or close as a woman. I love that you brought this up, this desire to be seen, but then they don't know how to be seen. And my clientele really struggles with that because they are the oldest daughter, high achieving, have it all together, independent, successful. So to be seen truly requires a vulnerability that they've not met themselves in internally. So how can you bring it to the table if you're not even going there with yourself? That's part of the work I help women develop a nervous system capacity for. Can you meet yourself more deeply? And a somatic experience of meeting yourself. Then it will become sort of second nature. When you've met you there, you can start sharing a little bit with this partner, seeing how it lands. And if you didn't get the response you wanted, you would feel that and you would have enough security to go, oh, okay, I'm going to be fine. I shared that, but I've met me there. It's not like I'm offering you my deepest, darkest secret and you've dropped it and I'm shattered about it, right? So it's one, can you meet yourself there with security? And that takes, I would say, time and practice to cultivate. And then two, do you have the discernment on who to open to? Because if you are opening to the wrong people, you're going to get this feedback loop of men can't handle me, I'm too much, no one can meet me emotionally. That is not overarchingly true, even though it's true in your experience. And you can change the types of people that you attract and engage with and have a different corrective experience. So do you see how there's like this process of you have to have this awareness, scaffold these skills, and then go in again. And that's what this phase 3 is about. How can I be the woman that holds, or the man, the relationship that I want? Am I being the equivalent? I want an empowered masculine partner. Do I know how to be in my feminine? I want a partner who sees me. Do I know how to be seen vulnerably? Vulnerability is uncomfortable. So if you're comfortable when you're doing it, you're not being that vulnerable. If you're sitting there like, yeah, this is easy, that's not vulnerability, my girl. That is you sharing something wonderful, but the vulnerability is the edge of like, I'm letting someone into something that's tender for me and being with that uncomfortable sensation, but continuing as long as you're getting the signal that it's safe. I know I'm off in the weeds here a little bit, but it's really about, can I be that version that could hold the love I want? Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
I think we've just about covered it here. This was important.
Yes.
Yeah.
You want it? I'll take it.
Sure. I'll jump off of you.
Yeah. So when we were coming up with this too, what we were thinking is like everyone wants for this phase to be the time when we tie a nice, neat bow on that and move it to the background. And in my experience, the bow often happens 10 years from now, when you're like, I am so grateful that that experience, A, sharpened me in that way, and B, didn't work out the way that I wanted it to at the time. Because now I've met the person of my dreams, and I would not be the person that he would be needing if that had worked out. And even to have people come back on the scene and you're like, I can see why we didn't work out. And I am so grateful, A, for the experience that we had, and the ways that I grew as a person, the ways that I learned from you, the sides of me that you brought forward that I had never met before, the experiences that you like healed within me, all of it becomes gratitude at that point. And we always want to like rush to the end of this. And I find that there's always the like through line that you can't see until you're a little further down the road. But you can probably see this even in previous relationships where you're like, I can see why that wasn't working or why that wasn't compatible. And especially when you do this work where you're clearing out the things that don't belong to you anymore, you're making space in your heart for something new. Once you can go through and start to compartmentalize or, I can't account for different things, like put things in different spots
Clarify.
than what. Yeah, you can kind of like reorganize internally, and then you do find the silver lining or the like bow experience, but it often doesn't look the way that you think it will. And I think that's the surprise for people. They're wanting it to look a certain way, and it almost never does in my experience. What's your experience been like with that?
Yeah. I think I shared this the last show. I had a mentor that used to say you can never find the lesson when you're in the middle of learning it. So anytime I'm in a period of confusion, I sort of remind myself of that. Like the clarity that I'm so desperately searching for might not come right now. That's okay. I'm just in the thick of it. And also, you may never understand why people did what they did when they did it. If you had been able to understand it in the relationship, you probably would have stayed together.
Yeah.
Right? And there was some level of incompatibility in skill sets or capacity or bandwidth or whatever it was that didn't allow the relationship to work. Doesn't make it any less meaningful. But the closure is we weren't each other's person. And then as you're saying, time passes and you look back with gratitude for not only the wonderful parts, but the parts that clarified for you what you really needed and how to become the type of woman you needed to be to hold what you wanted. I have deep gratitude for every partner that I've had, even where there was betrayal or manipulation, or I know you guys have seen the narcissistic story, right? That happened when I was 21. Deep gratitude for those experiences. I would not be able to do what I do without that. And I would not be this person without that. So it doesn't have to be true for everyone. But for me, it really was. The closure comes in taking the wisdom and taking the joy and taking who you become. Yeah. Integrating the experience.
Yeah. It all adds up to your maturity. I love that. Anything else?
I think if you love the show, please share it. That means the world to us. If you're willing to give us a rating on Spotify or Apple, that also means the world to us. We really want to keep spreading this message, this healthy third way forward. And if you're willing to engage, let us know what came up for you, as long as you are owning your experience, right? What's been true for you. And let us know. We'd love to have a conversation with you about it.
I love that.
If you want more from Courtney, Courtney_Shand, CourtneyShand.com. Yeah. Anything else? Right?
You're like,
is that it?
Yeah.
You want more from me? It's buildingbree.com. You can fill out an application to work together. Sorry, I just got something in my eye. Fill out an application to work together there, or Building Bree Coaching on Instagram and TikTok.
I do have one more thing, because the current current course that I'm building right now is the rebrand. And that is literally designed to pick you up in this kind of phase shift between phase 2 and phase 3, so that you can start stepping into, with full integrity, the version of yourself that is deeply present and confident and doesn't get hooked by these like little incompatibilities that you maybe had been before. So if this and the last episode are speaking to you, that is where I'm currently focusing my attention with one-on-one work, helping you get really perceptive in your ability to discern what's happening for you and really accept yourself on a whole new level. And the results are like blowing me away.
So good.
All right.
Amazing.
Thanks.
See you in the next episode.
Bye.